In this video, we're going to talk about points, lines, and planes, and we're also going to talk about the basic foundation of geometry. So before we get into points, lines, and planes, let's talk about what is geometry. Well, geometry is a part of mathematics that studies size, shapes, positions, and dimensions of things. For example, squares, circles, and triangles are some of the simplest shapes in flat geometry that we talk about. And then we also talk about cubes, cylinders, cones, spheres, and some of our solid geometry. Why is geometry important? Well, geometry is important because it gives us a spatial understanding of things such as space, shape, size, and position. It also teaches us to deal with numbers and measurements. It helps us to improve our visual ability. It allows us to become better thinkers. Geometry is more of a right brain topic, so it kind of helps us to put the logical with the visualization and the creative part of our brain. And then it also helps us with 3D thinking. There are a lot of real-life applications as to how we can use geometry. Let's talk about some of the undefined terms. First of all, there are three basic terms in geometry that we consider to be our undefined terms and kind of the foundation of all the shapes and figures that we study in geometry. Let's take, for example, just so that you can better understand this idea of an undefined term, let's take the color red. The color red, if I were to define that term, is pretty difficult to define without having a visual picture of what red is. Red is red. So that is an example of an undefined term. Let's start with the first one. The first one is a point. We say that a point is a location in space. The point has no size, and it's represented by a dot, and then we use a large capital letter to identify a point. In this case, we would say this is point A. A point is probably the most basic term that we need that comprises most of the shapes or all the shapes that we talk about in geometry. The second one's a line. We say a line is made up of points. It has no thickness or width, and there's exactly one line through any 2 points. If we were to look at a picture here, this would be an example of a line. Again, it's named by 2 points or a lower script letter. So we could say that this is line M. We could say that this is line PQ, or we could say that this is line QP. Again, notice down here, the line over the top with 2 arrows indicates that it is a line. Okay, our third term is a plane. We say a plane is a flat surface that's made up of points that extend indefinitely in all directions. Again, there's exactly one plane through any 3 points, not on the same line. So, you think about this. I know it's kind of hard to see. We're looking at a computer screen, looking at a video, but think of a flat piece of paper. Notice here on this particular plane, we've identified 3 of the points. And then we've got a large script letter that we could also use to identify. Again, we name it by using 3 points that are on the plane. And then we could also use, as I said, the capital script letter. So in this case, we could say this is plane K. We could say this is plane BCD, plane CDB, DCB, DBC. Again, any order of those 3 letters, we could name the plane. Okay, a couple other terms. The word collinear. It's important for us to know that the word collinear means that these are points that lie in the same line. If I were to give you a picture here, notice in this picture, points P, Q, and R are collinear on the line L. Another term, coplanar. We say that coplanar, these are points that lie in the same plane. Give you an example here. Here we have 2 planes that are intersecting. So points that lie in the same plane, that would be coplanar. We could say G, E, and B are coplanar. We could say that F, A, and I are coplanar. The other thing I want to point out to you is that any 3 points can be considered coplanar. So you could say that G, E, and A are coplanar. You could say that B, O, and C are coplanar. Because again, we can take any 3 points and slice those 3 points with the plane. Okay, this last concept I want to talk about is this concept of intersection. Intersection is the set of all points that 2 geometric figures have in common. So let's look at a couple of examples. If I have 2 lines, let's say, that intersect, you can see here they intersect at the point there at the red dot. So that would be a point, just 1 point of intersection. If we have 2 planes that intersect, notice here these 2 planes, their intersection is actually a line. So it's these 2, or this line here, that shows where they intersect. I didn't give you a picture of this, but if I had a line that went through a plane, then again, it would be, the intersection would just be a point.